Joining us after serving 15 years in prison for what prosecutors called, quote, one of the most heinous double murders committed by a juvenile in Hennepin County, one of the convicted killers is eligible now for parole.
He is now eligible because of a law the legislature passed last year that will affect 79 other inmates as well, and a joint decision made by Ramsey County prosecutors and defense attorneys today. Carol Evans' Lou Ragoose explains.
10-year-old Robert Shepard has now been dead 6 years longer than he was alive, and his father, Robert Sr., still struggles.
I'm trying to hold back the tears right now of knowing that my son would be 26 years old March 7th. I didn't even get to see him grow up.
Little Robert and his mom, Katricia Daniels, were murdered in their Minneapolis home in 2008 in such a gruesome manner that a juror fainted during one of the trials. Two 16-year-old boys who Katricia treated like sons, Stefan Thompson and Brian Flowers, were convicted and sentenced to life in prison. But now Flowers is eligible for parole.
It's just astonishing that they would even consider him for parole. The way that they murdered Katricia and my son.
The reason is a combination of a U.S. Supreme Court ruling and a change in Minnesota law. The court ruled that juveniles need to be given the possibility of parole. And last year, the state legislature moved up the timeline so that those inmates can now ask for early release after 15 years instead of 30. Flowers has already spent 15 years behind bars. The Department of Corrections says 79 inmates fit the same criteria.
May it please the court.
Hennepin County prosecutors had been fighting for Flowers to receive consecutive sentences for the double murder to maximize the time in prison before parole eligibility. But after the Ramsey County attorney took over the case because of a conflict of interest, they noted Flowers was less involved in the crimes than his accomplice and signed an agreement with Flowers' attorney to accept concurrent sentences and end the legal fight. Not the news the victims' families wanted to hear.
You know, I just leave it in God's hands and let God take care of all what needs to be done.
Ramsey County Attorney John Choi reiterated in a statement that a big reason they made this agreement was they determined Flowers' role in the case was far less, he said, than the co-defendant. Flowers' attorney Perry Moriarty helped write the new law for the state legislature. She said in a statement that Flowers is not the same person he was in 2008. Quote, he knows there's nothing he can say or change what happened, but Brian will spend the rest of his life trying to make amends. And guys, this process of asking for parole will begin in July when this new parole board that the state created will be formed.
All right. Thank you, Lou.